Welcome to Operation Fatherhood, the mission where blue-collar dads take the mic. Now, we're used to hard hats, steel toes, and long shifts that leave our hands rough and our bodies worn. But here's the truth. Beneath every callus, every scar, is a heart that beats for our kids. This episode is about balance. The grit of the job and the tenderness of being a dad. Strength isn't just what we bring to the work site. Strength is also found in the hugs before school, the bedtime stories after a double shift, and the way we show up, no matter how tired we are. So strap in, brothers. This is Hard Hats, Soft Hearts. Welcome to episode 1 of Operation Fatherhood. Greatly appreciate y'all for tuning in. Again, this platform is going to be for all those dads out there, the new dads, the veteran dads, the single dads, all the dads, the girl dads, the boy dads, like everything that is out there for our kids, right? Us as showing up as fathers. For those that do not know me, my name is Dro the Sound God. That's what I go by on all the social medias. But I am a girl dad. I am a girl dad of 4 beautiful princesses, and they are now grown, but they are still my babies. They are still looked at as the little princesses that they were when they were first born, as they grew up through their adolescent stages, and now going off to being young adults out in society. So a little bit about me. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I was on a submarine warfare. So for anybody that's out there that's bubblehead, shout out to all my bubbleheads out there, all my squids, my fellow brethren. But, again, being in the military, not kind of knowing what was going on at the time, showed me a lot of discipline, a lot of rapport, a lot of camaraderie with other individuals, structure, definitely routine. And I think that has transitioned now into civilian life. One of the biggest things that, I try to teach my daughters is to, have a routine, to make sure that they are being, and leading their lives with integrity, with pride in everything they do. So today's conversation, again, like y'all heard in the trailer, hard hats, soft hearts. Again, we go out on the daily grind. For all my blue collar workers out there working construction, working the oil and gas industry, commercial, residential, if you're out there sweating, busting your ass, this podcast is for you. So again, let's be real. Hard hats, steel toe boots, the long hours leave a mark on us. They leave a mark on our bodies, on our mental capacity, and having kids with that sometimes is an added stress. But I will tell you, my dads of the world, do not let work stress you out when it comes to your kids. Your kids are blessings. They are there to help you grow, just like you're there to help them grow. And I will repeat that again. They are there to help you grow and for you to help them grow. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, if you're a new dad, you've never taken care of a child, you've never, had to worry about anybody but yourself. Now, you are now tasked with that responsibility of taking care of another person. So now the selfishness that we have inside, and all of us have it. All of us end up having that selfish, kind of attitude sometimes, especially, when we're young teenagers, 18, 19, even 20 years old, coming into our 20, being 21, being an adult, being able to go buy liquor and whatnot. We're still a little selfish, right? We want to look after ourselves. We ain't got no responsibilities. We're going to go out, make our money, do what we need to do. But now having children, having kids, that whole thing ends up changing, right? Now you have to be from being selfish to being selfless. You have to start thinking and putting somebody before your own well-being. Now, mind you, in this day and age, mental health is a big must. Your mental has to be there. So again, if you are not ready to become a father, to become a dad, please use protection. Make sure that you're taking the steps so that way you don't end up having a kid before your time. Okay. Now, with that being said, again, what's one job that left you super exhausted, but your kids made it worth every second when you walked through the door, right? I remember there were times working a night shift, coming in, being able to see them before they went off to school, right? Which was a good thing because then I was able to sleep. But a lot of times before they ended up, getting home, I was already getting ready for work, but you still make that time. So you have to make sure that you're allotting yourself some time. You're giving yourself some time, right? When you walk in the door, I know we want to decompress. We want to sit down for a minute, gather our thoughts. Sometimes we do it in the cars, in our trucks, outside before we walk in, right? But make sure you're giving yourself that allotted time, whether it's on the drive home, whether it's in the driveway, whether it's in the shower, right? You decompress, wash the day away, get rid of work, leave work at work, then come in and spend time with your kids, right? Help them with homework. Hey, how was your day at school? What'd you do? Right? And sit there and listen, right? Again, they are there and they're going to open up their little hearts. They're going to open up what they did. Hey, I ended up drawing this for you, Dad. Or, hey, I ended up, making some new friends, or I played on the swing at recess, whatever it is, just sit there and listen. Being a girl dad, it definitely slowed me down a lot to be able to sit there and listen to what they are actually saying, not just listening to respond, but to listen to give them the insight, the know-how to actually understand what they were asking. So again, I highly stress, make sure that you're giving yourself a lot of time, Dad, to stay out, decompress, and in certain ways to decompress, right? Some people, have a couple after work. That's okay. But also keep in mind, if you have kids at home, you got to tend to the kids, man. They're our future. They're what's going to be running this country one day, right? They're going to be our senators, our lawyers, our doctors. So we have to make sure that we're instilling those good values, that good quality time that they need. And we show them that we're going to show up, even though we have the hardest day at work. Hard hats go out the door, and our soft hearts end up kicking in, right? We end up being there, being tender for them, being able to tuck them in before they go to bed, read them that bedtime story, right? So now we're going to talk about strength versus softness, right? Dads are always told to be tough, right? We're always, and me being in the military and having girls, right? I had to be a lot more soft and tender, but I was also still a little hard on them. Why? Because they are girls, right? And I want to make sure that I arm them and give them the tools that they need to be able to, now being young adults, protect themselves, understand situational awareness, how to make sure that they are paying attention to their surroundings, where to sit at in a restaurant, when they're out with friends, X, Y, Z. So again, we are taught to be tough. Guys, boys, little boys, taught to be tough. You scrape your knee, get up, shake it off, put some dirt on it, keep it moving, right? But also, I think that we were taught, for those, again, I'm 41, so I was, born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, right? We didn't have social media. We, again, we were riding bikes. We were actually going out and playing with friends. But one thing we weren't taught is how to express ourselves, right? So the minute that, a little boy, if you have a son, you tell him, you be tough, don't cry, boys don't cry. Sometimes that isn't the right approach, right? Sometimes those tears, that anger, that frustration, kind of like how we decompress, right? We sit in the truck, we're listening in silence, going through the thoughts in our head. They have those same things at a young age. So how can they decompress when we're telling them, don't cry? When we're telling them, hey, boys don't cry, right? Dust it off. You'll be okay. You be strong. Yes, we get it. We want you to be strong-minded. We want you to be strong-willed. But the emotional intelligence that, we want to instill in our youth, to be able to express themselves, so that way they're not keeping everything bottled up inside. So that way they are not holding any kind of, anger, frustration. They know how to express that, so that way they live a healthy life. So one of the examples, again, being tough but being soft at the same time, bedtime stories, right? I remember watching Frozen when Frozen came out a couple of times, like 100, but so and again, it's the little things that they remember, those bedtime stories, the quick hugs, or the even the longer hugs that they get before they go to school, the lunchbox notes, right? Lunchbox notes are definitely a way to communicate, especially if, say, they're getting ready, brushing their teeth. Mom might be making their lunch. You're there. You're able to write them a little note. I would leave my daughters little motivational notes here and there. And one note that I now text them being older, is the little acronym TICDA, TICDA. And what that stands for is today I can do anything, right? So when they see that, when they open that message, now that we're in the age of technology, they know that they can go out and tackle the day and do anything they set their mind to. And it's the little things like that get them to be able to believe in themselves, but also to know that they have support from us dads, right? So what's one small act that shows your kids you care, even on the hardest days? For me, I think it's being there to listen, being there when they call, when they pick up the phone. Now that we, again, are in the age of technology, now that they are able to call, hey, pick up the phone, right? Also, the small acts that you are able to show as a dad, again, just being there. If they want to play the Wii, go ahead, play the Wii. 15, 20, 30 minutes, it won't hurt. It's those small things that create those lasting memories. Hey, I remember when I kicked my dad's butt in, NBA 2K, right? So, maybe they become, good gamers because they were there being able to play with dad, or they end up being good at the Wii. Wii Sports, and become pros at bowling, like some of my daughters have now recently. They still can't beat dad, but it's those small things that build those long lasting memories. So I think the biggest thing is just showing up for your kids, being able to be there and make sure that they know that they have a support system. And a lot of times, again, talking to the dads out there, a lot of times as dads don't have that support system, right? Well, again, like I said, this is the first episode. this can be your support system. I encourage anybody that, any dads out there that are listening to this right now, drop us a comment. Let us know where you're, tapping in from. So that way, we can reach out and maybe even have you as a guest on the show. Cause I want to hear from all dads all over the world, right? Not just here in the United States, from, Australia, from the UK, from Mexico, from Canada, dads of all walks of life, right? Again, and again, this is Operation Fatherhood. Why? Because I was in the military. I'm a blue collar dad, but we're not going to exclude those white collar dads out there that also are putting in that work, are also showing up for their kids, right? Maybe a different perspective. They might bring a different perspective to how they operate in, their day-to-day fatherhood, right? So making sure that we leave lessons for our kids, make sure that with the grit, with the tough love, the tough dad that, persona that you have, because you have to be a tough dad sometimes, make sure that translates to legacy, right? What is the legacy that you are going to leave behind for your kids, right? What morals, values, emotional intelligence standards are you leaving? Are you setting the example for them to, take on and continue that legacy, right? For those that have boys, I wasn't blessed with boys. God blessed me with 4 daughters. So again, still that legacy that I'm leaving behind when that time comes, again, making sure that you are leading with integrity, that you understand your surroundings and how to maneuver as a young lady. And I encourage dads to make sure, if you are new dad and you haven't thought that far yet, it's okay. It's okay. But I just want to put that bug in the ear for you to start thinking that way, right? Turning that grit, those hard hours at work, all the calluses, all the scars, all the, soreness that we end up having from our day-to-day job. How does that transition to our legacy? What is it teaching our kids? And I think our kids don't just watch us work. They learn from how we carry ourselves after the work, right? Because a lot of times, kids can't go to the job site with you. Kids can't be out there on the front lines with you. So they are seeing how you are after work, right? How do you carry yourself after work? And what do kids do? They emulate what they see, right? Especially at a young age, right? You stick your tongue out at, your little one. Guess what? They start sticking their tongue out at everybody, right? You start, and for those, again, I was a sailor. If you cuss in front of your kids, guess what? Cuss words are going to end up slipping out. So it's definitely one of those things. They end up emulating us. So how we carry ourselves after work, after the job, be mindful of that. I also highly suggest, if you're in a relationship, if it ends up being, to where there's a lot of arguing and stuff, try to not do it in front of the kids, man. For real, do not do that in front of the kids, because again, they see that, they hear what you're saying, right, to mom, or they and they'll start emulating that, and you don't want that. You do it behind closed doors. If you need to argue, go get away from the kids, so that way they are, protected at all costs. So with that being said, strength isn't just in the calluses. It's in your heart when you show up, when you walk through that door, when you give them that hug. And again, sometimes they just want a hug. They just want to feel loved. The kids just want to feel loved, to know that they're there and their dad is loving and caring and giving them a big hug, right, when they walk through the door, right? Some kids, as they get older, they're playing the games, they're on their phones. We get it. But still, hug your kids. Okay. Make sure that they see how you are after work, that you're still going to show up for them. You still got time to, help them out with homework, that you're still there to read them a bedtime story before they go to bed. Right. So I leave you with that. Anybody that's out there that might want to share their soft heart moment, please reach out to us. Again, Operation Fatherhood 25@gmail.com. That is where you can reach us at all social media platforms. You can reach out to me, Dro the Sound God, everywhere. So again, greatly appreciate y'all for tapping in. And until next one, this has been our mission briefing. Peace.